Love and accept the person as they are right now. Wouldn't you prefer to be with someone who loves and accepts you for who you are rather than who they want you to be and you having to change aspects of yourself in order to be accepted in a relationship? And if you did end up changing yourself for a relationship, how does that make you feel? Let's talk about love and acceptance in this video right now. I am loving my blue vibe. I don't know what's up with me, but I am just so into like the blues and purples. It must be something with my third eye and throat chakra. It's just like, let's do this, baby. Hello and welcome, my friends. I personally have been working through this lesson and I just really felt called to make a video on it. And this is a lesson that I have learned all throughout this year, and I think a little bit of 2019 as well. And it's basically about love and acceptance within relationships and situationships. So let's hop right in. So I might be looking down at my notes every now and then. I hope you don't find that distracting, but I really want to stay on topic and hopefully keep this video minimum, a little bit shorter. So I want to talk about how leaving a relationship or a situationship can actually be the best thing you can do, not only for yourself, but for the other person. So I've had quite a few instances this past year that have really demonstrated this lesson to me, and I feel like I have a good enough grasp about it to talk about it with you. So first I'm going to give you a personal story of mine, and it's going to be a bit vague, but I'm going to tell you about the most recent one and how that relates to leaving or letting go of a relationship and how it's really the best thing. So I recently met a friend through traveling, and we seemed to like really kick it off at first. We had both this very positive, attractive energy, and when we were in group settings, we didn't get to talk so much in depth, but we really just like vibed. We both had like this very like kind, loving spirit vibration. And we just like really loved talking about how we can like spread our love and our vibration out into the universe and help other beings. But then we started to connect more on a one-on-one basis, and I started to realize some things that were a part of his belief system and his core values that really didn't resonate with me. And instead of like confronting him and being like, hey, I don't like this about you, or can you change this, or this is triggering me, so I want you to change this. Instead of like mentioning that to him, I decided to just like, love and accept that this is who he is, and that is perfect. That is beautiful, but not for me. Not even as a friend, this isn't good for me. This is causing me anxiety. I wasn't feeling safe around him. I was feeling triggered, and these were just like all these like red flags were coming up. And so I just couldn't be around him. I would literally start to get irritated being around him. And that tend to irritate the side of me that I didn't like that came out. And this is where I want to talk about how, like, for me, I just decided to love and accept. So loving him for who he is, not asking him to change or manipulate himself so that we could continue having a friendship, but rather just saying like, hey, you are the way you are, and that's perfect, and I love and accept you, but I need to step away. I need to create distance from you because it's the best for me. And ultimately, that's the best for him too. And this leads me to my next point, which is, when we are loving and accepting of people truly, he can he's perfect just the way he is for someone else, to have friendships with other people. Because if I was to come to him and be like, hey, I want you to change these things about you, then how is that going to make him feel? That's going to make him feel like every time he's around me, he's going to be thinking, oh my gosh, am I doing this thing? Am I triggering her in some way? He's going to feel inadequate or not enough. He's going to feel insecure because I mentioned these things that I don't like about him that are like him, you know, his belief system, his personality, who he is as a person. So I just want to specify here that this isn't talking about habits, okay? Because we all have like weird quirks or habits, and you know, that is something that can totally be like, we can like, you know, adapt to. You know, if someone has like a habit that bothers us, that's a challenge for us to accept that and love that person regardless. However, if you, like me, are experiencing this irritation, this irritability, these red flags, these triggers, these feelings of anger, anxiety, you know, feeling unsafe, if you're feeling those, then these are just signs that like you do not mesh well with this person, or maybe it's just not at this time, and it's really best overall to step away. Like I said, habits of other people, we can definitely, you know, work on ourselves. Usually that's like work for ourselves, you know, that kind of reflection and being like, why does that habit bother me? And, you know, you can do some internal work and figure out how you can deal with it and not let it upset you. You know, I'm not saying end your relationship or your friendship because they don't put the toothpaste cap back on the toothpaste tube, you know, that's not what I'm saying. So this leads me to my next point, which is to love and accept people as they are now. It's not fair to yourself or to the other party to wish for them to change or, you know, waiting around for them to change either. I mean, I know that there's so many people out there who have this people-pleasing symptom. I was one of those people, and we tend to be these fixers, right? We tend to get like these relationships that aren't actually really good for us. We don't really like mesh well together, but we believe we can fix them, or that we're going to be the exception and they're going to change for us. And that's not fair. That's not fair to that other person, because honestly, real change has to happen from within, and it has to be that person's decision. Think about whenever like you wanted to change something about you, whether it was like your diet or getting on an exercise routine or quitting an unhealthy habit, whatever it is, that didn't come from someone else telling you to do it. That came from you reflecting, realizing that it was something that you needed to grow from and change, and you yourself made that decision. So it has to come from that person. And when it comes from someone else, it just comes off as like nagging or you devaluing that person. You're not loving and accepting them when you're asking them to change or waiting around for them to change or wanting them to mold themselves into something that they might not be able to be. You know, so it's unfair to them, and it brings out insecurities, feeling of not good enough. It's basically self-worth sabotage that you're doing to that person. And then it's not fair to you because you are waiting for this person to show up for you. You know, you're telling them that this is what you need. You know, you need them to change in these ways for you to feel loved or for your needs to be met. And then you're stuck in this relationship that just isn't satisfying your needs. You don't feel good enough. You don't feel like they care enough about you. And that's not the truth at all. So when you choose to like try and change someone, you're not loving and accepting them. And you're also not really resonating, you know, with yourself and loving and accepting yourself. So it goes back to also like, don't try and like, I don't know why in society we've kind of like felt this way. I feel like we've kind of like adapted this habit where we need to like force someone into our lives. Like we are so afraid of being alone that we will find someone that we kind of vibe with, but then all of a sudden there's these like your needs aren't being met or you're being triggered, and instead of just being like, okay, this person isn't for me, I'm going to love and accept them as they are, and I'm going to say goodbye, and then I'm going to, focus on myself, and, I'm going to like just wait and be loving and accepting of myself and wait for someone else who is more in alignment with me to come along. Instead of taking that vibration and that course, it seems like we constantly have this like crazy fear that this is the only opportunity, they're the only one, so we just try and like force them into our life.
Become an adult for the first time in our late teens and our early 20s. We're so terrified, we're so trying to be an adult that some of us will take the wrong person, the wrong jigsaw piece, and just fucking jam them into our jigsaws anyway, denying that they clearly don't fit. Oh, we'll move pieces out of the way. I don't need this hobby, I don't need this opinion. Mum, who the bitch with the tits, what's she done for me recently? And we'll force this fucking person into our lives because we'd much rather have something than nothing. Then 5 years later, you're stood looking at a jigsaw you don't recognize, being like, there's a fucking cunt in the middle of this.
Yeah, and it's just not healthy for either party to do that. Recognizing that someone is not right for you and saying goodbye to them and letting them go takes so much strength and love. It is not always easy. In my past relationship, I was so in love with this guy. I thought that like this was it, this was the end all be all, like we were so made for each other, it seemed, in so many ways. But there was like, my needs weren't being met. And there was a lot of things that were triggering me, and it caused arguments, and we weren't having fun anymore. And the relationship was taking on, so much work to be done rather than experiencing joy and love. And so it took a lot of strength to say goodbye to him. And I had to do a lot of time grieving that relationship. So I won't lie to you that this is easy. If you're in a relationship and you're watching this video and you're realizing, snap, I see where she's coming from, and I'm in one of those relationships, and I haven't been happy in a long time, I may have to let this person go. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's hard. It takes a lot of strength to step away and, honor yourself and honor that other person with love and letting them go and just being like, hey, like, you need to go on your own path and I need to go on mine. And it's not that I don't love you. It's just the fact that like, we're fire and gasoline, and this is not going to work well for us. And yeah, so it is difficult. It takes a lot of growth within yourself and a lot of love, but you can do it. You can do it for sure. You can do it. If I did it, you can do it too. So the next little point that I want to talk about is discernment and taking people at face value. If you are a single person like me, then this is definitely a message for you. I think that it's really important when you're going out and you're meeting new people to tap into your own discernment and, not give people this constant benefit of the doubt. And I know that might seem kind of crazy, but it's really important, to be honest. Like, I used to feel like, oh, Anne, that's not giving people enough grace and love. But I have to be honest with you, it's a protective mechanism. Not everyone out there is, filled with good intention and just wants to give out love and light like us. There are people out there that just have selfish intentions, and it's just really important to practice your discernment. And if people are putting off this vibration like right off the bat and you don't like it and you're not resonating with it, don't give them the benefit of the doubt. Don't list off several excuses as to why they could be behaving this way. Just realize that is who they are, and that you should just accept them for who they are in that way. I, had this, when I was first dating, I hadn't dated in like 4 years or so, and I just started dating again. And there was this guy that I was dating, and he was very sarcastic to the point of like insulting me constantly. And instead of me just being like, okay, that's who he is, I don't vibe with that, that's obviously an insecurity happening in him, and that doesn't make me feel good, so I think I'm going to separate myself from him. Instead of doing that, I would have saved myself so much time, so much grief. Instead, I communicated to him that I didn't like that, and he decided to mold himself, and he stopped doing that I didn't like, and started to ask me questions and asking me details of what I do like and what I do want. And you know, it seems like natural, right? When you're dating someone to express your needs and your wants. But the problem is when you go into detail. Because a lot of narcissists and sociopaths, they feed this, like they eat up this information that you're feeding them, and they will mold themselves into that mold of, and then you'll all of a sudden think like, oh my gosh, this is my soulmate, this is my perfect partner. And you're really going to get hurt in the end because it's just a facade. And so you may spend like 6 months to a year investing in this relationship before you see that facade crash down, and you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening? What is this person doing now? I didn't think that this was them, but it was them all along. And so, you know, first impressions, take it at face value. You know, don't just think that, don't, you know, make all these lists of excuses as to why this person could be behaving that way. And like I said, if someone is insulting you and you call them out on it and they say, oh, it's just because I'm really nervous, you're so beautiful, or I feel a little intimidated, don't take that as like, oh, okay, it's gonna be better. No, take that as a red flag that he's insecure because of your beauty. He's insecure because of your success. He's insecure, or she, sorry, it's not always he's, but he or she is insecure. And that's why they feel the need to, you know, insult you or make these rude jokes about you. And it's really not cool. It's not honoring your being. So sometimes communication can be really important. I mean, it is really important in relationships. And so, you know, you do need to tell that other person what you want out of them. Not out of them, but what you want. But make it a generalization. Do not give specific details. Do not guide them through it. Don't give them the whole roadmap to what you want, because they can just form this and manipulate the whole entire situation. I mean, I unfortunately have had a lot of experience with narcissists and sociopaths, and they are magicians. They are the best illusionists I have ever come across, or if you want to call them con artists. They are, because they will find out, they will do research on your social media, they will look into things that you've said, they'll also ask you, you know, these questions that really seem like at first, you know, appropriate in the dating world, but they ask for more details and then they mold themselves to that. So just be very careful. So if ever you're communicating something that you want out of someone, just make it very vague. So for example, I have this friend, and he wanted me to come up and visit him while I was doing this, you know, road trip across the US. And I was totally down. I was like, yeah, I haven't seen you in so many years. We were really good friends in the past. It'd be good to see you again. But he like would not keep consistent communication with me. And so we were like never able to like make a plan. He would either just like all of a sudden disappear and I don't even know where he went. Or if we got on the phone together, he was constantly like doing something else or being interrupted by other phone calls. And he was always putting something else first. And so I just decided, okay, that's who you are. Obviously this isn't as important, or like, you know, you really don't want me to come up and see you, and that's chill. Like, that's fine by me. So I just decided to distance myself. And then he started to come back and he's like, hey, why haven't you come visited me yet? And I was like, well, because we haven't even been able to connect consistently enough to even set a plan. So why would I drive up to see you just randomly like, hey, what's up? You know? And so when I communicated to him that for me, if you want me to make the time and effort to come up and see you, you need to be consistent with your communication. We need to be able to set a solid plan, and you need to not just disappear on a whim. You know, the communication lines have to remain open. And he said, okay, yeah, I totally get that. I can do better. And he apologized, you know, for not doing that previously. So for me, I feel like that is a good form of communication. I told him what I wanted, you know, in order to achieve this goal, and not giving him like a play-by-play of detail. Like, you have to like text me this many times in a day or call me or anything like that. No, it was just like, keep the communication open, you know, don't disappear on me, and make a set plan. And so, you know, he gets another chance. However, there won't be a second one, and there won't be a third one. Us with like people pleaser personalities or kind souls that we have, we tend to make so many excuses for people and give them not only second chances, but third and fourth chances. And we need to stop doing that, because that's not honoring ourselves, and that's not recognizing that this person may not have the same intentions for us that we do about them. You know, it may be unrequited love, as I think it's explained. Yeah. So in conclusion, I just want to like reverse the role, so you kind of like get another perspective of what I'm talking about. I want to ask you, wouldn't you rather have someone who loves and accepts you for who you are right now, rather than who they want you to be down the line? And think about it. If you were with someone and they were asking you to change certain things about you, how would that make you feel? You know, would that make you feel insecure? Or like you're never good enough? Like you need to walk on eggshells? Or maybe it would make you feel inadequate or insecure. I highly doubt that would make you feel loved. And so I just want you to keep that in mind, that, you know, it's not fair to ask other people to change themselves and to mold themselves, to try and like force something to work. Rather, just love and accept who that person is, and decide who they are right now, who they are showing themselves to be. Do you want to be with them how they are right now? Can you love and accept them for who they are right now? So my friends, that's all I wanted to talk about today. I hope that this video resonated with you. If you agree with my opinions and my thoughts on this, then please leave a comment below letting me know. Give this video a thumbs up. And if you don't agree with my opinion and perspective, then that's awesome. Please let me know in the comment section below what you think and what your opinions on this matter are, because I always love to know differences of opinions. So let us know, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video. Bye. Love and light. We love you. We love you just as you are.